The failure to supply crude oil to domestic refineries, including the multi-billion-dollar Dangote Refinery, has stalled the production of refined petroleum products at the facilities. Now, this is also as the 650,000 barrels per day Dangote Refinery in Lagos missed the October production projection it had earlier set. The October production target miss made it the second time in 2023 that Dangote Refinery would raise hopes of Africa, especially Nigeria, of a possible end to petrol importation. On the 20th of September, it was reported that the Dangote Petroleum Refinery was importing crude oil and expected its first cargo in about 2 weeks, according to the executive director, Dangote Group, Devakumar Edwin. The report stated that though the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited trades crude oil on behalf of Nigeria, Edwin revealed that the NNPCL had committed its crude to other entities. Now, to further discuss this, I am being joined on the news by energy consultant and analyst Seun Dania. Thank you so much, Seun, for joining us on the news.
Hi, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to have you join us as well. Now, Seun, how would you evaluate the financial effects of the country's inability to deliver crude oil to its own refineries, especially the Dangote Refinery?
So, of course, definitely, I think it's an afterthought because at the start of the project, most of the concerns that most people within the industry had was crude supply. Evidently, because of course we already know that there are no pipelines channeling crude oil from the major Nigerian refineries down to Lagos, or even from the Niger Delta region where we have a lot of the private refineries, or from whatever terminals. But of course, the argument then was the fact that they would, ship with vessels, from maybe Port Harcourt, Warri area, then down to Lagos. Of course, definitely it will reduce the revenue. It will increase the cost of actually getting the crude oil because of the logistics. Everybody knows that the Nigerian waters are not very safe. So the cost of security, importing products or transporting products within the Nigerian waters, it's always a big problem. Of course, and that would also increase the cost of the products that we are getting. It will definitely lead to a lot of shortages because there will be gaps between delivering products, and then of course it's so sad that Dangote Refinery would then have to be sourcing crude oil. I mean, most other refineries across the world source their own crude oil, but I mean, partnering with the Nigerian government would have expected that a particular portion of the crude oil that we produce locally would be committed to ensuring the continuous and steady running of the Dangote Refinery.
All right, that's one angle, Seun, but also looking at we know that it's no news that the Dangote Refinery has failed to meet its October output target. Now, how would this affect Nigeria's attempt generally to import less gasoline and become more economically independent?
Of course, as it is, we'll keep importing, and increase the reports. The increased importing of refined petroleum products affects, puts a lot of pressure on our FX. We're unable to drain our foreign exchange reserves, evidently, that is already dwindling. The cost of our refined products will be dictated by the foreign crude oil prices. We need to definitely make sure that, which will mean that Nigerians will be paying higher for refined products, even though the products are refined locally. The pump price will not come down, and our economy will be slow. So we'll have, slow economic growth because the higher cost of fuel, the higher cost of doing businesses will not be able to, invest in their businesses, and consumers will have less money to spend. So it will be a very slow pace for our economy generally.
All right. Speaking of foreign exchange that you did mention, what effect do you think that the Nigeria's reliance on imported crude oil will have on the foreign exchange reserves and the general economic stability?
It drains the reserves, so because Nigeria will spend a significant portion of our foreign exchange reserves on importing Either crude oil and refined products. I mean, not right now, not crude oil right now, but refined products. And of course, when the refinery itself now needs to be importing crude oil, where they are buying at, international in the international markets, they will require FX, which will definitely also put a huge um, it will put a lot of pressure on our foreign reserves, and then it also increase the exchange rate volatility because the naira is heavily pegged to the US dollar, as we all know, which means the value of the naira will be closely tied to global oil prices. So if the oil prices falls, the naira are likely to be weakened and to lead to inflation and a lot of economic instability. And I think it will also add to it will lead to vulnerability in the supplies, so there'll be regular supply disruptions, which can also anything that happens, political unrest, pipeline sabotage, in any of the countries where we're importing crude oil from, to lead to shortages, in Nigeria as a whole. So the government evidently needs to work on self-sustainability, even though the Dangote Refinery is a private refinery, the government needs to be able to play a huge part. And as we all know, the NNPC Limited owns about 20% of the Dangote Refinery. So, the government needs to actually pull their weight.
All right, energy consultant and analyst Seun Dania, we appreciate your time with us on the news.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.